Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And in this video I'll be proving more so the first two games out of five in the test series between India and England. Apologies if you hear some noise in the background. It's quite windy in the UK and it is quite windy outside. Starting off with India, they drew the recent test series against South Africa by 1-1 and were docked a couple of points due to overrating one of the games. They'll be looking to secure the series by a convincing margin to make up for those lost points. And on the squad announced for the first two tests, I'm happy to see a couple of players included such as Dhruv Jurel, who's been averaging 46 I think in domestic cricket when opening the batting. I feel him being allowed to bat at 6 in the side will optimise his performance, and as has been the case in many of the recent squads, I don't understand a couple of inclusions. Virat Kohli is unavailable or declared himself unavailable for the first two tests. Will this affect India? Usually I don't think it will, because you've got a lot of players who've missed out for making this squad, and yet if you had picked any one of those, India would still be in a very strong position. So I don't think this will affect India too much, but of course you can't replace a player like Virat Kohli. On the 11 or on my 11 for the first and second test, since Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam play out similarly, I've gone with Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal to open the batting with Shubman Gill at number 3 and KL Rahul at number 4, Shreyas Iyer 5, Dhruv Jurel at number 6, Ravindra Jadeja 7, Akshar Patel 8, Ravichandran Ashwin at number 9, Jasprit Bumrah number 10, Mohammad Siraj number 11. And on the keeping slot, the reason why I've gone with Jurel ahead of KS Bharat is that, and first of all, KS Bharat I scored a fantastic century in the recent game between India A and the England Lions, where until the last day, at no point did India A look like they'd be getting out of the game with a certain amount of respectability. And after being 10 for 2 going into the last day and putting up that kind of a show with the bat is fantastic, and KS Bharat scored a century at a very good rate in that game. But when comparing both Jurel and Bharat, I think both of their keeping skills would be equally as adept. When comparing their batting, you would have seen, as far as recent trends go, that the number 6 in each side would be looking to take the game on a bit, whether it be Rishabh Pant when he was playing for India and Mitchell Marsh for Australia. And if you're comparing both those players, Jurel has that knack of taking the game on a bit at that number more than KS Bharat has. And we've seen, I'm not that you're comparing IPL performance to test performance, but I feel this is someone who's succeeded when he's opened the batting and has succeeded playing a finisher role in the IPL. So I'm backing him to go well at 6 here as a batsman and to do quite well as a keeper. And on the seamers, I've thought this since he debuted in 2018, but I would not play Bumrah for any home test because I just don't think it's necessary. Where Shami won't be available for the first two tests, yes, you've left out someone like a Umesh Yadav or Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who picked up an 8 for in his first innings, returning after a bit of a layoff from Red Bull Cricket. And so you've got all these players here. Do you need Bumrah to win in India when seamers hardly will do any bowling when you've got the 3 spinners they've got and you've got Kuldeep Yadav sitting out as well? No, they won't need to do much bowling. So you've got a lot of cricket coming up. This series, the IPL, the T20 World Cup. Will he be able to play all those games without an injury? I don't think so, which is why. And they may be resting him after the first couple of games if things go well, maybe even the first 3 if things go well. However, I personally wouldn't play him at all in a home test. But in this case, you've got no option because Avesh Khan would not be suited to bowling in the venues of the first 2 tests are taking place, and nor would Mukesh Kumar be. So they've not got an option because of the squad they've selected. So Bumrah and Siraj would have to be the 2 seamers, with Jadeja, Akshar Patel and Ravichandran Ashwin, a fantastic spin trio being there. I would go with these 3 because they are more conventional bowlers. Like Kuldeep Yadav, you'd feel, would he be able to land the ball on the same spots a lot of the time compared to those 3? I don't think he'd be able to. So, a fantastic bowler, yes, but I would go with the 3 conventional finger spinners. And on KL Rahul batting at 4, where when Virat Kohli is back, you'd think it depends, because if Shubman Gill goes well in the first 2 games, if Jaiswal goes well in the first 2 games, then in my view, if Shreyas Iyer also does well, he's a fantastic player of spin, you can back him to go well in Asia. I feel there wouldn't be a spot for KL Rahul, considering they've said he won't be the first, or he won't play as a specialist keeper in the side. So I think there'll be a competition between the players in the middle order to do well in these first two games. As Virat Kohli comes back, one of those players will be displaced. And if Kohli comes back and Shubman Gill hasn't had a great time in the first two games, then KL Rahul will have to go from being a keeper at number 6 to batting at number 3 in the next series. So we'll have to see how that will go, but that is how things will have to be. On the replacement for Virat Kohli, they've gone to Rajat Patidar. This is a player who has been in very good form of late and has batted at number 3 in the games against South Africa, in South Africa, and in the recent games against the England Lions, and he likes to get on with things at number 3. And on this replacement, I feel he's a player that's been in good form. However, you've got 38 domestic teams playing in India, and there will be a lot of players that are available for selection, and a lot of those will miss out because you've got players here where can you drop those players at what they bring to the side? I don't think you can. And in this case, where you've got someone like a Sarfaraz Khan, who the reason why I'm mentioning him is because a number 4 position has been opened up with Kohli's absence. Sarfaraz Khan has been batting at 4 in the recent series. I feel with what he's been doing, he would have been the perfect player, especially in Indian conditions, to be tried out at number 4. Whether he'd be persisted with or not, would have to tell, because like I said, you've got a situation where KL Rahul, even if he is playing the side, would have gone from someone who's been batting at number 6 as a specialist keeper, and the next series would have to be batting at number 3 at some point. So if Virat Kohli does come back, you've got one stalwart who'd have to sit out, so I don't know if it gets a lot of game time after this point. But in a perfect opportunity to try someone like a Sarfaraz Khan. Now, if you don't try him out, and this would have been the player that I would have gone, it's Sai Sudarshan, where there's been some talk around Yashasvi Jaiswal's place as well. I personally think he can have a very good series here, as if he goes the way he does, especially playing spin, like the way we have seen him play, I think he'll have a fantastic series. But Sai Sudarshan would have been a backup for 2 players, Jaiswal and Shubman Gill at number 3. So someone who also plays spin very well, I feel they could have selected him as well. But it is a good player in good form, but I feel there were other candidates who would have suited the need in terms of selecting that player to fill, or not fill Virat Kohli's void, but a player who you could have tried out as a more long-term option, where Sai Sudarshan has got the technical soundness to bat at 3 or open the batting in any part of the world, in my view, and I feel he could have been, I would have selected him in the squad. But apart from that, the 11 that I suggested will be their best bet, I feel, in these first 2 games. Number 3 could play either Gill or Rajat Patidar, but apart from that, there wouldn't be any other selection conundrums. And I think India should go well in these first 2 games if they play this 11 especially. On England, there have been especially a couple of revelations which I feel will affect the playing combination. Harry Brook has made himself unavailable for selection to play in this 5-match test series, and to what extent would that affect England? I feel psychologically it may do, as he would have been the 3rd standout player in this batting side, alongside of returning Ben Stokes and Joe Root. As an opposition side or player, you're wary that Harry Brook could be walking out to bat, even though off late he hasn't had the greater times in playing in India. And as for his replacement, Dan Lawrence would have been the obvious option, and he has been selected. He's someone that also likes to get on with things, and he played in the test series in 2021 as well. As a replacement, I don't feel that's a bad one by any means. Ben Foakes has also been named the first choice keeper, meaning in my view, Johnny Bairstow would have to compete for a place at number 5 along with Dan Lawrence, and if he doesn't win that battle, then he'd have to sit out. And Shoaib Bashir has returned to England now. He'll be missing the first test due to a visa delay. I'm not diminishing the situation by any means. However, in my side, he wouldn't have been starting, and I'll be narrating my side now. I've gone with Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett to open the batting, Ollie Pope at 3 and Joe Root at 4, Dan Lawrence or Johnny Bairstow at 5, Ben Stokes at 6, Ben Foakes at number 7, Rehan Ahmed at 8, Jack Leach 9, James Anderson at number 10, and Ollie Robinson at number 11. As for the bowling attack, Mark Wood has been hailed as a difference maker for England in tests, and when considering, you've got to consider what venues a bowler will be effective in. And we saw during the World Cup that bowling the ball halfway down the track and trying to bounce the opponent at pace doesn't work at a lot of venues in India, and we saw that during the World Cup. And the first two venues being used here, Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam, would be two more venues fitting into that bracket. So if you play Mark Wood or Gus Atkinson to bowl in that fashion, I don't feel it would work, and that's why I've gone with James Anderson and Ollie Robinson to be controlling seamers that won't give away too many runs. And then you've got Jack Leach, who will start. And because Jack Leach would start and Joe would be the third spinner, I feel both Shoaib Bashir and Tom Hartley can't play in the side since they would play Rehan Ahmed. And I feel even though Rehan Ahmed is quite raw, he would be a wicket, or he could be a wicket-taking option. I don't mind if Tom Hartley plays ahead of him because, like I said, you've got two conventional off spinners, frontline left arm off spinners, and Jack Leach and Tom Hartley. But they will play Rehan Ahmed, so in that case, Tom Hartley can't start. A helpful thought process for England going into these first two games would be, if you're considering ranked turners, the services at Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam are more slow tracks where the ball would turn slightly but not too much. So not to an so-called exaggerated amount. So especially considering England's batting philosophy, if you're looking to go hard on certain tracks on this tour, it would be more feasible to go hard in the first two games than playing at venues that would be considerably more tough. And there's a rumour floating around that they'd play three frontline seamers and play Mark Wood. If both the tracks play out in a typical fashion, then Mark Wood, with the way he looks at bowl, would that be the most effective bowling style in those services? No, it wouldn't be. And with the sole seamer without Ben Stokes bowling, they may find it difficult. And Rehan Ahmed is still raw, so if he goes for runs, then you've only got two spinners to do the job against this Indian batting side. So that's why I would strongly advise against going with that attack. And if they do, I don't know what would happen. But I feel the side that I've gone with here would be their best bet going into this game. And like I said, since they will certainly play Rehan Ahmed, then there is no space for Tom Hartley or Shoaib Bashir when he returns. And finally, for the comparison of both 11s. Looking at the top four, starting off with India, you've got Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill and KL Rahul compared with Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Ollie Pope and Joe Root for England. On the openers, Rohit Sharma has had great returns on turners. This won't be a ranked turner, especially for the first few days, but I feel he'll have a great knock in at least in one of the first two games. Yashasvi Jaiswal has been a fantastic player spin out of what we have seen of him in the highest level, so I feel he will have a very good series. So those two have got a convincing edge, according to me, over Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett. Shubman Gill versus Ollie Pope, where Shubman Gill may be low in confidence after not being in the greatest of form in Test cricket of late. Ollie Pope has been in very good form when he has played at home, so I feel both of those can equal out. KL Rahul versus Joe Root. Rahul has been in great form in the World Cup and recently in Test match South Africa scored a century. He's an assured player against pace and spin, and I regard his talent to be up there with the very best. So that's why I feel him at 4 would be a great option for India. And Joe Root's been in fantastic form in Test cricket, so both those could relatively equal out. Although, in terms of reputation, I feel Joe Root, you could veer towards giving him the edge, but I would say both those two, with the skills they've got, you could say they even out. So as far as the top 4 goes, I feel India have got a convincing edge over England's top 4. On 5, 6, 7, Shreyas Iyer versus Dan Lawrence, Shreyas Iyer would take that. Dhruv Jurel versus Ben Stokes. Now, on a consistent basis, you think Dhruv Jurel, especially since Ben Stokes hasn't played much cricket or any cricket off late since the World Cup, you think Jurel takes that. However, Ben Stokes is capable of playing some great knocks, and when his side is under pressure, recognizing that him and Joe Root would be the standout batsmen in this side, he may play a couple of great innings. So, on a consistent basis, Jurel but Ben Stokes can play great innings on his day. Jadeja versus Ben Foakes, where Jadeja has not been in the best of form in viable cricket, but whenever he plays in the home tests, he comes up with one or two vital knocks. So because of the experience of Jadeja, I've gone with him. Ben Foakes may not be a bad option. We'll see how he goes. Akshar Patel versus Rehan Ahmed. Akshar Patel does take that with his batting and his bowling. Ashwin versus Jack Leach, you'd say that as well. And I don't think it'd be fair comparing Bumrah and Siraj with Anderson and Robinson, not because of skill levels, but because they'll play different roles. When I talked about Anderson and Robinson being controlling seamers who don't give away runs, Bumrah would be would look to control things by attacking. He wouldn't be looking to do what Anderson would do. They're different types of bowlers. Anderson won't blast teams out like Bumrah would do. And Mohammad Siraj would not be that economical bowler, but he'd be looking to attack, which is not what Ollie Robinson would be doing. He's not outright as an attacking bowler as Mohammad Siraj would be. So I think comparing those two would be fair. But overall, India do have the edge according to me. And if England do what I said they would do and read the surface accordingly, they may be able to have a respectable go at things, but I feel India are favourites by quite some distance going into this game even without Kohli playing the side. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. Remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?